Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's video. This week, I have a question for you all. What do you get when you mix a survival horror like Resident Evil with a circus troupe? Dead Rising, of course. The first Dead Rising game was made by Capcom in 2006, and for the past 10 years, the game has had 4 main games and 3 spin-offs. Now, this is a strange kind of review, because I've already played and completed the game, because I completed it in 2010. I know that that's when I played it because my friend lent the game to me, because you could unlock a character in the game Lost Planet 2 if you had a save file of Dead Rising. But Dead Rising is an action horror game. It was originally made on the Xbox 360 and then ported on the Wii and iOS systems. But now, since the game is 10 years old, it was released for Xbox One, PS4, and PC. As for the story, Frank West is a freelance photojournalist, and at the start of the game, he receives a tip about Willamette, Colorado. When he arrives, he finds out that Willamette has been overrun with zombies. Frank is left at the mall where survivors are held up. Things look fine with the survivors blocking the entrance doors, until this goddamn lady finds her dog outside and decides, oh, I'll open it and let all the zombies in. Oh, I'm smart. But anyways, Frank retreats to the safe house, where he meets Brad and Jesse, 2 other survivors. And Brad decides to go outside to go look for more survivors. Brad is attacked by Carlito, who Frank meets when he arrives at the mall, and they get into a conflict together. After dealing with Carlito, Frank and Brad go to meet a man named Dr. Barnaby, but he doesn't want to leave to the safe house. Later, Dr. Barnaby is kidnapped by Carlito, and both Carlito and Brad shoot each other. Frank goes for medicine at the supermarket and meets Steven. After defeating Steven, Frank...
Clean up! Register 6!
After defeating Steven, Frank meets Isabella, Carlito's sister, and eventually she tells Frank what's going on. Now after this point, I don't really remember what happens in the game, because I didn't get as far as I wanted to for this review, and I haven't beat the game in a long time. So, let's just say that after story mode, there's still more story to go, so... There, end of the story, whoa! Now we'll get into the gameplay and other aspects of the game. First off is combat. In the game, you're going to be fighting zombies, but there's many ways you can kill zombies. For example, you can find items around the mall to pick up, such as baseball bats, chainsaws, or pistols. But if you're in a pinch and there's no weapons nearby, you can always use hand-to-hand combat. Now, while fighting zombies, sometimes they might be able to grab you, so whenever that happens, you'll have to use quick time events to escape them, or you'll lose more health. Sometimes, when running around the mall, you might come across some survivors. After you talk to them or complete a task for them, they'll join you, and when they join you, you can command them to follow you, or go to a specific point. Your main goal for the survivors is to take them to the safe house and gain PP. Now you might be wondering what PP is. Well, if you gain enough PP from rescuing survivors, defeating bosses, and other activities around the mall, you'll be able to level up with the PP. Leveling up increases several stats, for example health, the amount of items you can hold, your speed, and it also gives you more combat skills to beat up the zombies. Now, being a photojournalist, Frank can use his camera to take pictures. Every picture Frank can take can gain him more PP, and there are some categories that pictures can go into that will increase PP, like horror, drama, or action. While running around the mall, you might be called by Otis, the janitor, about things happening in the mall, and these are quests that you can complete to get more survivors or by defeating bosses. But these quests, including the main story quests, are all timed, so they have to be completed before time runs out. there are 3 colours to indicate how much time is left for a quest. Blue means that there is a lot of time left, yellow means there's some time left, and red means there's not much time left to do the quest. If you're low on health, the way you need to heal is by eating food. But if you take 2 foods to a blender that'll be in some restaurants, you'll be able to make drinks that have different effects, such as being able to walk fast, giving yourself a fiery spit, and being able to heal all of your health. Another little thing that doesn't really do much for your game, but it's still something you can do, is change the clothes that you're wearing. And sometimes, whenever you wear a costume, it'll make the cutscenes in the game look a lot funnier. I mentioned during leveling up that a way to get PP is to defeat bosses. These bosses are also known as psychopaths, and killing them will give you PP, as I've said before, and sometimes they will have survivors or a weapon they used. Dealing with psychos requires different ways to take them out, but usually I'll be getting up and close to them, or shooting them from very far away. However, here's where Adam comes in, or as I dub him, the Game Breaker. The easiest way to defeat Adam is to get a gun and shoot his gas balloons that he blows up to hurt and stun him. But Adam's very useful, because after defeating him, you can take his mini chainsaws. Now, we're taking a slight detour to explain books. Books can be held to increase durability, increase PP that you gain, or other skills. The reason I explain this is because you can increase the durability of the chainsaws with 3 books, which will increase the durability 8 times. So with this in mind, this weapon can cut through zombies with ease, but it does throw out the statement I mentioned about the methods of beating up psychos out the window, because you can just kill them in a few slices with these chainsaws. So it can be seen as a cheap weapon to use, but it's really efficient to use at the same time. So it's really up to you if you want to use this method or not. Now we'll get into the AI. The AI in this game, I'll let you see this clip and see how well the AI is in this game. With gameplay elements out of the way, it's finally time to get into the pros and the cons of this game. With the pros first, this game is a really fun take on the zombie genre. Because I mean, most games were all serious and involved you having to be very careful about what you wanted to do against zombies. And that's not to say that this game's easy by any means. I mean, until you get those chainsaws. But that doesn't take away from the fact that the game is still very funny, with like the choices of weapons you can use, or what you can do in the game. Another pro of the game is that it feels very atmospheric, because at 7 o'clock at night, the zombies will gain strength, and you'll know this by their red eyes, and that makes them stronger from your attacks, and they attack more often. And then at 10 o'clock, the mall shuts down completely, making the entire place really, really dark, and it just makes the game feel more alive. And the final pro I've got is that there's different ways to play the game that you want. You can ignore the survivors if you want, even though I wouldn't suggest that at the start, saying you might want to get PP, but it's still a choice. You can ignore them, or you could gather a lot of them together and give them guns to make them your own personal firing squad against the zombies. Or you could even just, use weapons and just attack with your hands. Those are just a few choices that you can do. Now for the cons of the game. The story's pretty lame in my opinion, because apart from Frank, most of the characters in the story are pretty uninteresting, and the story kind of drags on, because certain events in the story won't come until you wait a few hours. I mean, that gives you time to go save survivors and stuff, but still, if you wanted to do a story immediately, you should be allowed to do it whenever. Another problem that's a little picky is that the graphics are kind of dated. I mean, the game's 10 years old, but unfortunately, being put onto the PC this late makes the game look a bit like it's a low-budget game. And then lastly, I've already talked about it, but the AI is really the worst in this game. Because you need to literally babysit the survivors sometimes, or they'll just be attacked by a whole load of zombies, and they'll just die. And that's a pain in the ass if you're trying to do some of the achievements, which involves bringing back all the survivors. So for my final thoughts, I have to say that as much as I love this game, it has aged pretty poorly. But I mean, if you want to play the first game in the franchise, by all means, go ahead, I won't stop you. It's still a very fun game, but if you want the definitive Dead Rising experience, I would just suggest Dead Rising 2 off the record, or just Dead Rising 2. They both play the same as Dead Rising, but they add so much more to the game, like crafting, and the AI is not complete rubbish in those games. So, yes, that's my thoughts. And with that, video's done. Thanks for watching if you got this far. Time for everybody's favorite part of the video. If you liked the video, please like, subscribe, favorite, comment, something else. Whoa. But yeah, if you did like the video, yeah, just like it and comment what you liked and comment what you didn't like, because any criticism helps. Because I mean, I've only been doing these videos for a few weeks and I already feel like I've improved a lot. As for next week, that's a problem. I don't know what I'm gonna do next week, so we'll see. I'll get something, but if you have any suggestions what I should do next week, give those in the comments too. So yeah, that's all I really got to say. Hope you enjoyed the video. Have a good weekend, and I'll see you next week. Bye bye.